Excelsior! What's up, everybody? I'm Sly the Movie Guy, and here I'll rank all 4 MCU trilogies. And I know there's 19 MCU films, but a couple of characters have, or a group of team members, have their own trilogies during the whole long Marvel run. And those are Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, the Avengers. Yes, these films have their own trilogies. A couple of them is coming in the future with their third installment. But for right now, we're going to rank all of these. I'm going to rank all of the trilogies. Excuse me. And if you don't like this list or whatever, the ones that I put out, they're the ones in order, please just comment freely. Tell me your picks of which ones you like in the trilogy, in your rankings. I would love to know, because we all are fans of the comic book characters. And this is my personal list. So I'll respect your list as long as you respect mine. Let's don't get all like, oh, why you do? Please, let's don't do it. Let's just have fun as comic book fans or movie fans of the films. Anyways, let's just get started. Coming at number 4 is Iron Man Trilogy. Yes, the Iron Man Trilogy. This is the one of the trilogies that are kind of probably not the worst, but kind of like a fine trilogy. The first one was really good. I really enjoyed the first Iron Man movie. It was really something different. It was the big launch pad to the first Marvel movie, basically in the MCU, to kick things off. The first Iron Man movie was so good. You have where Tony Stark's building weapons in the cave, all that. He has to get a new heart, basically. He got that reactor. Everything worked fine in this film. Jon Favreau did a phenomenal job in this film. I thought he did so great with this film. This is one of my favorite comic book films. I really enjoyed. Robert Downey Jr. was getting into kind of trouble, kind of had a rough in Hollywood, but Jon Favreau casted him, and he did so phenomenal as Tony Stark and Iron Man. I can't imagine anybody playing him. Then it's Iron Man 2, which is the film I feel like is the weakest probably to the MCU. Probably one of the favorites. Some people like it, but mostly some don't. Iron Man 2 basically have Whiplash, Want Revenge, Justin Hammer's controlling Iron Man weapons, basically all that stuff. It was come like a mess, but everything about it was just, and then Tony Stark's having a sick illness, and we get our first appearance of Black Widow. All that kind of is fine, but some of it just like, I say it's a fun film. Is it not? It's probably not one of the strongest in the Iron Man trilogy, but I'll take it for a grain of salt that it was trying to do something. Jon Favreau and them, it was basically rushed. I've heard stuff saying it was rushed. Jon Favreau did direct this, so still somewhere, I guess you can watch it to have fun with it. I think I only seen it like 4 times or 3, not multiple, but then we get to Iron Man 3. Now, this is directed by Shane Black, and Shane Black did so good with this one. I think he does well. I don't think it's better than number 1, but it's at least decent. The action-wise, Shane Black just did knock this out apart. Now, there's one thing about the Mandarin, and I say this, didn't mind, but it does bother me word. It was a fake Mandarin. It was an actor guy played by Ben Kingsley. Ben Kingsley, great actor. You don't make him a fake actor as the Mandarin. I don't know why you do that. That don't make any sense. But overall, besides that problem I had with that film, everything worked in there. Robert Downey Jr. continues being Iron Man, just like the second one. He's just Iron Man throughout the trilogy. He does well with the character. In this movie, he did extremely well. Him and Gwyneth Paltrow, I say in the whole trilogy, they have a good chemistry, probably the best couple chemistry. I can really buy into it. The third one just does well. Guy Pearce does well as the villain, basically in the film. I just think the Iron Man trilogy just is fine. The first one's great. The third one's somewhere solid, not as fresh as the first one. And the second one, overall, the Iron Man trilogy is something you could probably say, okay, at least it tried something. Just have 2 good films. Just one is. Coming in third is Thor Trilogy. Yes, now, I know a lot of people are not a big fan of Thor, but Thor is a good character in the MCU. I mean, the first film, Thor, I think is very underrated. I think this is the underrated comic book film I've seen. I went to the movie theater. I loved the casting of Anthony Hopkins as Odin, Tom Hiddleston as Loki knocks out the park. Chris Hemsworth, when I saw a poster of Thor, I was like, this guy is Thor. And that was back then. I didn't know a lot of actors like that. Someone did. When I heard of Chris Hemsworth playing Thor, I was like, he looks like Thor. This first movie was so good, the action sequence, but I love the camaraderie. I love the two where Odin and Thor's talking, where Odin's telling him how to be king. That scene alone makes me love that first Thor movie. It really showed that Thor was arrogant. I like the set tone of it. This was directed by Kenneth Branagh, the one that that did Cinderella and the train movie. Can't remember the name of it. It just came out recently last year, 2017. He's a great director. I think he did a phenomenal job, and people don't give him enough credit, but this was a well-done movie. For an origin movie, I think it does something special. Then we get to Thor 2, and Thor, The Dark World, basically, it's not bad. Some people I know it's probably one of the is the weakest MCU film. A lot of people didn't like it. I can understand. I think some stuff works in here. It's not one of my favorites, but the thing I think what hurts it is the villain. The villain Malekith was very weak. Just didn't work well in that film at all. He was just coming up for the Ether Stone, basically. But the action sequence does well. And I forgot to mention the first Thor movie, Natalie Portman as Jane Foster. She's fine, I guess, in the first one. Second one was kind of, the chemistry did not work. It felt like it didn't blend well. It's almost like if you try to put cookies and Coca-Cola, that part doesn't go well together. And Natalie Portman and Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman's a talented actress, but her and Chris Hemsworth chemistry just didn't work in here. Things just didn't work in here. Glad I see a Stanley cameo in the crazy little home or whatever Eric was in, and Stanley cameo. That was good. I think the fighting action sequence worked in Thor: The Dark World. I think they were very well done. I think the guy from Game of Thrones directed it. Yeah, he did. I can't remember his name quite often right now. I forgot. I think it's Alan Taylor. Don't know. But Game of Thrones director did this, and I can see where he was going with this. He put a little darker tone to it, but I guess some people didn't like it or what. So that's one of the things. Next, we get to Thor Ragnarok, which I like this director, Taika Waititi, or Taika Waititi, whatever the name is, Taika Waititi. He does good. The Thor Ragnarok is one of the movies I had a total blast. It looks like the Jack Kirby comic book, looking like all kind of with the colors and everything. They blended that one well. And this is where the director knew Chris Hemsworth had comedic chops and knew how he could bring the Thor out of him. And Chris Hemsworth showed he had humor in the first movie and the second movie. So this is where I say, yeah, this really is the branch out Thor we needed. And Kate Blanchett as the villain, Hela, oh, she was so good. Everybody worked in here. Jeff Goldblum, wow, this is where Jeff Goldblum impression. You get it. Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie, the Hulk. The gladiator scene with Chris Hemsworth and Hulk is the memorable scene. I can't get enough of that. That scene alone is great. Thor in the end, where Hela said, "What were you, the god again?" He's like, coming down with the Zeppelin song. That was good. I loved it. This is one of my favorite films out of the trilogy. I think this ended off perfectly because after the first one was so good, the second one was kind of feared of the third one's not being that, but at the same time, I was like, this is Taika Waititi, the guy that did Hunt for the Wilder People, boy, and What We Do in the Shadows. Those are 3 films. If you haven't seen them yet, please check those out. Those are good Taika Waititi films, especially What We Do in the Shadow, which is one of my favorites. This man just did it. Taika Waititi, you're the man for that movie. The Thor trilogy, like I said, is kind of solid. Besides the second one, I like the action sequence. Just let's say, it's still a solid trilogy, not like Iron Man. If you want to say it like Iron Man, then you can, but to me, it's still solid good. Besides that. Number 2, Avengers Trilogy. Wow. This is the one I say I love the first movie. Woo. Joss Whedon directed it and screenwrote it. And the casting, Nick Fury, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, Robert Downey Jr., all this stuff came together. All 5 MCU films, and then we get to Avengers. The first one really knocked out the park. Tom Hiddleston comes back as Loki, as he was a good villain in Thor, but here he does phenomenal as the villain. Still one of the top best villains of the MCU. Really gives a good villain role in the film, as where Iron Man's giving that dialogue saying, we have the Hulk, saying, let's do by count, your brother, the demigod, and all that. Every dialogue works in this film. The first film just really does everything. And the second film is one of the ones I wish was so good, but it kind of, still a lot of fun, but I wish it was something like extraordinary. I wish it was just like the first film. It captures the group better with the chemistry and all, with the group getting together. But the villain, Ultron, I wish they'd done better with him, because there was some parts of the film I felt like he was kind of like very humor, and that's Joss Whedon's writing. Because you know Joss Whedon loved to add a lot of humor, but in this round, I just didn't feel like Ultron was a threat that much. I mean, James Spader does a phenomenal choice of voicing Ultron, but still, I wanted to see more out of that, out of James Spader as Ultron. I wanted to see more like he's vicious, he's mean and everything. He does some stuff, but overall, I just didn't feel that. I think it's a solid movie overall, with introducing characters like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Those work. Elizabeth Olsen, I was kind of like, but I'll mention her later when I get down to other films. But she does kind of fine for this film, for her first outing. Then the introduction of Vision works in this film. I think the introduction is phenomenal. It does well. We get to see all that with what Paul Bettany does with the character. It does something that I say good what Marvel did on that. So Joss Whedon did make a bad sequel. Just wasn't like the best as the first one. It was fine. I love the action. The action sequence worked. Everything, the humor worked in the film for the most part. So I say, still check it out if you haven't seen it yet. And another one, the Avengers Infinity War. That's the one I like. This one really, the Russo brothers. This time was the Russo brothers directed it, not Joss Whedon. The Russo brothers took 27 characters out of that film and made a phenomenal film. I love this. If you haven't seen my review, it's on the channel. The link is down below if you want to check it out in the description box. I like this movie. It's one of my favorite 2018. This movie really knocked it out the park. The Russo brothers, screenwriters, all the cast and crew, all of them get a thumbs up. This movie does something I never would have thought would have happened. The Russo brothers proved it. They proved it on another film, which I'll mention later. They really knocked it out. They really did it. I couldn't believe how they pulled it off. I just don't know. 27 characters, that is a lot to accomplish. But they did something I didn't think was going to happen. The villain Thanos, played by Josh Brolin, phenomenal. Josh Brolin, man, you did it. And this film really captures a little bit from the first one. I wouldn't say it's quite as good as the first one, but it's a little bit there, a little bit. It does something I just couldn't believe what was, man, and the ending, not gonna spoil, but there's a lot in this film. Have y'all not seen it? Just, and the spoiler review is down in the link down below. Just check both of those reviews out, either the non-spoiler or spoiler. You'll see what I mean with them. This film, good. So the Avenger Trilogy as a whole, kind of good. Besides the second one, I say it has that villain problem. The second one's still good, and the third one just is a little bit right there with the first one. So I say good trilogy. That's all I gotta say. So if you want to watch these trilogies in order, go ahead. Number 1, Captain America. Oh, this trilogy is good. It's good. It has a good first movie, second one, third one ends it. This is the first, I can even say, other companies like Fox and Sony have their own trilogies with their films, but finally, as a Marvel, if we want to say all Marvel films, this is the first one that actually has a good trilogy, like a great one. In my opinion, I love this trilogy. The first movie, Captain America, First Avengers, I really love that film. I think it's really great. I know a lot of people say it's not their favorite, but this one really does something I never thought would have happened. The first one was really good. And if you remember another one, it was a lot better than the one that came out in 1990. The 1990 version. Let's not think about it. This one really took it was not cheesy. It was very serious. It has a serious tone vibe. Now it has some little humor, little tongue-in-cheek humor, but it really was solid. Hugo Weaving as Red Skull, Chris Evans as Captain America. Who would have thought? I did not think. After he played the Human Torch, I heard the Captain. I'm like, how can he do Captain America? I didn't know. He was good as a Human Torch. Don't get me wrong. But as Captain America, I didn't know. He made me eat crow as Captain America. He did a phenomenal job. I think he cannot be topped as Captain America. And the Winter Soldier, let's get to that. The Winter Soldier, one of my favorite comic films. This had that 70s political spy thriller, the action, all that. The things where the Hydra's doing stuff and all that worked in that film. That one was so good. That was the best, out of the trilogy. The things of that film was so, suspense. You didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know this. One of my favorite things, the elevator scene. Before we get started, does anyone want to get out? Oh, my goodness. Oh, and the fight with him and Bucky. I love that. Oh, my goodness. The Winter Soldier. Sorry if you heard that spoiler. If you haven't seen the Winter Soldier yet, excuse me. Spoiled it. Bucky as the Winter Soldier doing that blade and Captain America fighting. All that was so incredibly good. I love the action in Winter Soldier. It's totally the best comic film I've seen in a long time. Probably it's top 5 to me in my book. It's top 5 comic films, like DC or Marvel. But I love this film. This is totally great. Then we get to Civil War. Wow, Civil War. This is the Russo brothers. And the Winter Soldier is Russo brothers. I forgot to mention that, but the Russo brothers did the Winter Soldier, which that was great. The Civil War, they make you choke up. 11 characters. They did the Infinity War, but this was 11 characters. This was a test of the Russo brothers. Can they do 11 characters? They did this one there was the first test. You're like, wow. You leave out the move there. I was feared because usually third films of a superhero film does not turn out well. We've seen that before. This one, it isn't good. This one isn't good. The fight with Captain America and Iron Man. Do these heroes need to be in check, or do they need to? Captain America says no. Iron Man says we need to because of what's bad stuff happens. I don't want to spoil too much out of the film, but this film goes down. It goes deep. There are so many things that happen in here that leaves you on the edge of your seat. It's so deep tone. The tone of it is so deep. Everything works. Introduction to Spider-Man, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. All the things, the battle in the airport scene is one of the best action sequences I've ever seen. I loved it. It was so incredibly great. Everything worked so well in this film. I think this whole the trilogy of it is so well done. With the Captain America Civil War, I don't think it's better than Winter Soldier, but it is so much fun. It is the blockbuster of when it came out in 2016. Everybody loved this film. It was so much energetically fun. The action, so there. The introduction, I forgot to mention, Black Panther. Oh my goodness, I'm a Black Panther fan. The review down in the description box. Check out my review of Black Panther. I loved it. Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther was so badass. Oh my goodness. He was just he was great. The action of him, the Russo brothers did a new character that has so much that action with Black Panther. I mentioned Spider-Man. Tom Holland does great as Spider-Man here. It was totally great. It was the Spider-Man we all wanted to see. Really enjoyed it. I enjoyed this film so dearly. It was so great. I loved it. Captain America Trilogy as a whole has a good first film, second one, and third one, like I mentioned earlier. It's a great trilogy. I can easily watch that with no problem. All of the films have improved over the years, and it does something that we just like to say. Marvel did great with this one. I loved it. Like I said, thanks guys for watching this video of me ranking all 4 of the MCU trilogies. Like I said in the beginning of the video, let me know what is your favorite MCU trilogy. Just tell me. I would love to know. This is a fun time. I love doing these rankings of films. I think it's fun. In my mind, I think it's fun. And I'm pretty sure y'all enjoy me doing it. Thanks guys for watching this video. If you like this video, click thumbs up. Or if you're new to the channel, click subscribe. That's like to see you next time on Sly the Movie Guy. Peace. And Excelsior!